Hey there VC, Midge here, guy in a hat. Don't like to talk about records. And today's video is a quick one. It's a response video to Brian, the embryonic robot. And I've been wanting to do this video for ages and I've only just got around to doing it. And he did a thread where he talked about albums that had sort of mismatched titles and covers. You know, the sort of thing where a band came up with a title and they went to the advertising agency and they were all high on coke or they hadn't got the memo and they came up with something completely at odds to the title, or the title wasn't at odds with the artwork, things like that. And I absolutely love that idea. And I really wanted to make one of my own, so this is my attempt at the thread. I'll leave a link to Brian's initial video down below. Hop on his channel. He's a really great bloke. He's one of the nicest blokes in the VC. He shows some really cool stuff. So yeah, I love this idea. And I know a few people have done some variations and things on it, and I thought about a few of my own, to be honest, but let's just get this one done first. So these are my choices for mismatched albums and titles and artwork and, you know, things like that. Okay, my first choice is from 1971 and it's a band I really love, and it's Mott the Hoople's Brain Capers, featuring the Brain Caper Kids. Now that cover, I've never understood that cover at all. Apparently the album was titled either Brain Damage or Bizarre Capers, and the band couldn't make their mind up which title to go with, so they mixed the two. So maybe that's where the confusion occurred, but there's no brains on here unless you include the band's brains in there. And on the inner sleeve there's planes and, you know, war planes and things like that, but no brains. So I never really understood that. I did read somewhere once that they said that this was sort of like a UK supermarket brand packaging that they adapted, but I'm not sure if that's true or not. But I mean, that's just terrible. That's probably the cheapest album cover you can ever see. It just looks really naff, and the album's really good, and it's just, you know, it's one of the worst covers of all time, surely, but no attempt to match up a concept or artwork or anything like that on there. But yeah, it's a shame, but that's terrible, really terrible. The next one is the Dictators, and this album is called Go Girl Crazy. Now, what is the first thing you'd expect to see on a cover of an album that says Go Girl Crazy? Yeah, girls. No girls. A picture of the band and a picture of handsome Dick Manitoba, the lead singer, and no sight of any girls anywhere, which you can understand why, because that room could have been full of girls, but the minute that handsome Dick Manitoba walked in with that expression, they probably all scarpered, and who can blame them? So yeah, Go Girl Crazy. Yeah, I think there's something missing there, and it's the girls. Yeah, the girls. Okay, next up, another favourite of mine, and this is from 1971, and this is Terry Riley, and this is Terry Riley's A Rainbow in Curved Air. Now, as you can see from the very bizarre cover, there's a sunset there. I love the sunset, but no rainbows. On the back cover, there is an attempt at, you know, some rainbow art there, and you probably would have imagined that should have been the front cover, but no. So what I've always thought about this cover is, I mean, that's a beautiful woodland sort of forest there, and I always imagine if I was walking along there and all of a sudden the giant head of Terry Riley gurning at me appeared over the horizon, I'd absolutely shit myself, to be honest with you, and I'd be hiding in these trees. And I don't really know. I mean, obviously rainbows are caused by weather conditions, and I'd hate to know what weather conditions that would cause a giant Terry Riley head to appear in front of you. But that is surreal, and it's also a little bit frightening. I mean, you know, you'd never walk again, would you, if you walked through that and saw Terry gurning at you? So that's another one I've never really understood. But great album, great album. Which all these albums are great. It's just, you know, what's going on with the artwork. This is from 69, and this is Sam Gopal's Escalator. Now, I don't know if you'll notice, but there's no sign of any escalators there whatsoever. You've got a shot of the band with the terrific mustachioed Sam Gopal, who was the tabla player in the band, And obviously you've got Lemmy in one of his earliest band incarnations. I think he's named Ian Willis on this album because I think he was taking his stepfather's name at the time. And obviously he does the vocals, and you can tell it's his bass playing on it. Obviously this was before he joined Hawkwind. So the album's sort of like it's sort of like heavy rock with tabla playing. There's a bit of an Eastern influence and bits of psychedelic stuff thrown in, but it's not a particularly amazing album, to be honest. It's quite unremarkable. But you've got to start somewhere, haven't you? And let me write some of the songs on this album as well. But where's the Escalator? I don't know where they're pictured here, but there's certainly no escalators on there. And it's not like they couldn't find any, but yeah, that's always been a bit bizarre. And even more bizarre is you've on the back cover, you've just got a picture of Trevor Walters, the producer. So yeah, I've never really understood that. So Sam Gopal's Escalator with no escalator. Okay, next up, we've got a soul album from '63, and this is another one that's always confused me. I know sometimes when you call an album something, you don't want the design agency to do the obvious, do you? Because sometimes that can be a bit too obvious, a bit cheesy, and I know people have done videos on that. But if you're going to call an album something, shouldn't you have some reference to it somewhere? Not for Rufus Thomas. This is Rufus Thomas's Walking the Dog. And I don't know if you noticed, but or whether I can't see it, but there's no dogs there. I mean, they're all sort of like, you could say that they're pretending to walk a dog, which is obviously the idea. The walking the dog was a dance that Rufus Thomas had come up with. But all I can really see there is people with constipation problems, if anything. And on the back, even Rufus, shot of him in the studio, unless he's shouting at his dog, "Sit down!" I can't see a dog there either. So I'm a bit disappointed. There is a song called "The Dog" and "Walking the Dog," and it's can your monkey do the dog? No monkeys either. I mean, it's a bit poor, really, isn't it? And also, it's probably just my brain, but sometimes if I look at this cover too much, I think this guy's naked, and that's actually his appendage there. Obviously, he's a very gifted bloke, but I mean, it's a bit bizarre, that cover, and there's no dog there, just people with constipation problems and a guy with a large appendage. So yeah, never really got that one either. Another great bizarre cover. This is Cerrone, Disco Master. Love this album. It's a cracking album, absolutely cracking album. As you can see, this is his third album, Supernature. And Cerrone is in a hospital with a corpse on the table that looks like it's been stripped of its skin, and with a very bizarre expression, which you would have if someone stripped the skin off your body in a hospital. And three guys with dog and pig masks crawling out under the operating table, and one of them's holding a plastic heart. I mean, fair enough. If it was called Supernatural, you could sort of, gravitate towards that concept. But Supernature, I mean, I don't get that at all. I mean, that's not sort of hospital I'd want to be admitted to be honest with you. I mean, that's not even, it's way beyond the Carry On films, that one. I don't get that at all. And it's no better on the back, really. He's by his drum kit, and he's surrounded by yet more people in masks. And on the inner gatefold, naked people in masks. So, I don't really get that concept at all. So, sorry, Cerrone, I don't get it. Next up, I realised while I was looking for these albums, there's this sort of like a subgenre of these covers, and it's ones where you are very, very grateful that they didn't act on the title of the album and make the cover artwork accordingly. You'll see what I mean in a minute. This is an album where I'm glad they didn't follow the concept through, and this is the Rolling Stones, and it's their album Stripped. Now, fortunately, as you can see, none of the Stones are actually stripped naked on this cover, and that's something we could all be grateful for. I mean, talk about a picture of old codgers. It could have been a picture of old todgers, and nobody wants that at all. And because the mind boggles. Great album again. The Stones Going acoustic, doing the hits in an acoustic fashion, but there's no acoustic guitars on the cover. But thankfully, they aren't stripped. They have got the clothes on. It's a bit like John and Yoko's Two Virgins album, isn't it, where they actually did go naked. And I was thinking about that. I'm not going to show it, obviously, but I was thinking about that as I was doing this video, and I thought there's a great quote from Ringo Starr, and he said that John showed him the album cover before it came out, and he said, "All right, Rich, what do you think of this?" And Ringo said, and I was thinking to myself at the time, what does John want me to say? Oh, nice cock, John. Because he said, I couldn't really think of anything else to say. And you feel for him in that position, wouldn't you? If one of your bandmates came up to you and said, this is a picture of me and my missus naked, it's our next album cover, you've got to sort of tread on, you've got to tread carefully, haven't you, on that sort of thing. And I felt for Ringo in that occasion, but I've always remembered that quote. But yeah, an album cover that doesn't match that you're grateful for. Okay, the next one is a prog rock album. And again, the band's name is Spring. Now, when you think of spring, to me, I think of daffodils. I think of winter, retreating. I think of blue skies. I think of the weather getting better, crocuses flowering and all that sort of thing, snowdrops. Or if you want to be literal, you could be like a spring, a spring in a bed or a spring in an engine or, anything like that. Not so this band. This is Spring's self-titled album from 1970. And as you can see from the design concept, the group Spring idea of Spring is a dead soldier shot that's fallen in the river and is bleeding into the river. Yeah, it's not my first thought of Spring, but well, that's them sat on the riverbank watching the dead soldier drift past, bleeding into the water on a nice spring day. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, there he is. So it's a triple fold out sleeve, so yeah, you get the full image. Obviously these were prog rock times, and the album the album artwork is designed by Marcus Keith, who did a lot of prog rock covers, a bit surreal, so you can understand where he's coming from. Yeah, dead soldiers bleeding into rivers brings, makes you think of spring, supposedly. So yeah, I've never quite got that concept either. But it's a great album. I was listening to it this afternoon while I was pulling the albums out, and I've forgotten how good it is. Sort of like Mellotron-soaked prog rock. So it's great album. Originals are on Neon. This isn't on Neon, don't be daft. They go for hundreds and hundreds of pounds. This is an Arcama reissue. Okay, my last choice is a bit of a cheat, really, but I'm including it anyway because I love the story behind it. And it's a deliberately mismatched album title and album art. And it's from 1980, and it's Throbbing Gristle bring you 20 jazz funk greats. Now, you're looking at that cover and you're thinking, well, what's wrong with that? I mean, the band look really cool, and they're probably going to serve you a lot of jazz funk flavours with a lot of Hammond organ, a lot of nice vocals, and, we can all get down and dance. Now, you can dance this album, but I'd love to see what sort of dance you would perform to it. Anybody with any sense of Throbbing Gristle will know that they're not going to serve you 20 jazz funk greats. In fact, there's not even 20 tracks on the album, so straight away they've got you. Throbbing Gristle will serve you up a sort of concoction of lo-fi, electronica, droney type electronics. Their leader will sing some very dubious lyrics over with a monotonous sort of vocal delivery, and it's far from an album that you'd stick on at a party, full stop, to be honest with you. So to start off with, you've got the band members here, and you've got Cozy Fanny Tutti, you've got Genesis P. Orridge, you've got Peter Sleazy Christopherson, and you've got Chris Carter. Now, also, what you've got on here is, it's not an idyllic setting as such. They're actually stood on the top of Beachy Head, which is one of the most notorious suicide hotspots in the UK. So again, there's a bit of an undercurrent of mischief there as well. And yeah, you're not going to get 20 jazz funk greats here. So basically, the band decided to do this cover to try and fool people. So basically, you'd walk into your local Woolworths and you think, oh, that looks interesting. 20 jazz funk greats, and the band look really cool. And yeah, I'll take that home. And then when you got home and you put it on the record player, your mother would probably faint, and you'd be probably thinking, I need a paracetamol. But that's what's so great about this album. But to be fair to Throbbing Gristle, this is one of their more perhaps accessible albums. It's a bit of a reach, but it is. So it does sound, it's got like a bit of the sort of like late 70s type Joy Division New Order feel to it at times. So it is, I'm not saying it's commercial, but it has got that sort of post-punky sound to it as well. So it's not as extreme as some of their other albums, but you have got some dubious concepts on here. You've got half instrumental, half vocal tracks. Obviously, Genesis P-Orridge delivers his vocals in a very monotone fashion, and there's some very dubious subject matter for the songs. For example, Persuasion is a track where Genesis P-Orridge is playing a character where he's trying to persuade his girlfriend to pose nude so he can send the picture off to a Reader's Wife magazine, which was a very popular thing to do apparently in the 70s and 80s. A concept that always confused me, to be honest with you. So obviously a lot of adult mags in the 70s and 80s encouraged their readership to send in naked pictures of their partners and wives so they could feature them on their Reader's Wives page. And I always thought, what was the setup behind that? I mean, you go to your wife and say, you look absolutely gorgeous to me. In my eyes, you're the pinnacle of beauty. In fact, please could I take a naked picture of you? Because I just admire your body so much. And then your wife would be saying, oh, go on then. Well, what are you going to do with it? Well, actually, I'm going to send it into a magazine so everyone can see it. And the magazine's called Razzle. I mean, your camera lens would be shoved up your rectum, I would have thought, after that conversation. But people did it. Excuse me. So that's one of the tracks. It's basically Genesis P-Orridge trying to persuade a partner or something to pose nude for him. And it does get worse from there. So, yeah, it's a subversive album by a very subversive band, let's put it that way. But I've always loved the cover art. And there's a Land Rover there at Beachy Head. There was an alternative shot for the cover, which this reissue shows you. And I think this captures Throbbing Gristle more probably honestly than they did on the actual cover. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll end it there with Throbbing Gristle's 20 Jazz Funk Greats. No jazz, no funk, no 20 tracks. Yeah. So I just wanted to say to Brian, thanks for doing this thread. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. And I'll link to his video below. And also look out for all the other responses he's had because they've been really great too. Thanks, Brian. And I'll see you on the next video.